Alright, so this game is going to be Cruzz versus VonAsten. We have Cruzz playing as the United States in the West Base on Kolodny Ferma, Summer, and we have VonAsten playing as the Oberkommando West in the East Base. We're going to see Volksgrenadier start from VonAsten, and we're going to see a double rifleman start from Cruzz. We have him sending rear echelon troops straight to the strategic point right outside of his base, and then immediately moving over here towards the north side. And it looks like he's going straight for the fuel with rear echelon troops, and he's probably going to hit this with his riflemen, and then immediately hit this right after that. So that's something to take note of, is that he's using his riflemen in a more forward capping position while he back caps with rear echelon troops, and that's kind of a tactical decision. If you decide to send your rear echelon troops to the front lines first, then whatever comes around the corner, the rear echelon troops will sort of take the damage instead of your riflemen, so that can be a more conservative move. And if you send the riflemen straight forward, that's sort of more of a aggressive move, and you can see that he's going to be bringing his second rifleman squad up to support, so he's not intending on spreading himself out. He's going to go in hard on the north, and likewise we do see VonAsten going hard on the south. Stern Pioneer is actually leading the way here, and Volksgrenadier is doing back capping, which is typically also the best thing to do. But at the same time, VonAsten is sort of going to send a spare squad up here to the north, presumably to try to discern what exactly his opponent is doing. Usually the west base will go for the north side first, due to the positioning of this fuel point up here, and it looks like he now knows that. He's sent his Volksgrenadiers up there, and
you dopes, listen up.
Does get pushed back by those riflemen. We also have more riflemen moving down here for the cutoff point, and more riflemen moving over here as well. So we actually do have Cruzz spreading out quite a bit here at 3 different sort of locations on the map where he could get into an engagement. This is the only fight that's really of any significance, though, and those Volksgrenadiers are going to get pushed away by those riflemen, and he's actually not going to capture this point. He's just going to let his rear echelon troops do that, and he's immediately going to move to regroup with his riflemen here at the cutoff, and he's going to need to do that to decisively win this engagement. He could probably win even at this range with those riflemen, but with that rifleman up to support, it will definitely give him an advantage. Actually, we do have more Stern Pioneers moving up, and Volksgrenadiers taking heavy damage on that squad. He's moving to the other side of the wall, but these Stern Piles are going to arrive pretty much at the perfect time to push him away. He could even lose that full squad. He was a little hesitant about retreating, I think. Yes, the full squad does go down, so that hurts. And that was a very good purchase by VonAsten to get that second squad of Stern Pioneers. Netted him that full squad wipe. But at the same time, he does need to make sure to get that recaptured as quickly as he can. He's definitely hurting from map control right now. Then again, you're actually not cut off if you hold the center victory point. It will connect this territory to this munitions point, so that would have helped. But it looks like he's actually going to go all the way to the north to cut the American off. But likewise, the American does hold the central victory point, which will connect this strategic point to this munitions point. So that is not actually going to cut him off at all, making this a bit of an overextension on his part, but fortunately the only thing that can stop him at the moment is a squad of rear echelon troops. But I think he may have benefited from at least decapping this first. Riflemen moving up. They're actually in red cover here, though. But at the same time, volley fire is going to go out on those Stern Pioneers. I think that he was too far away. He won't be able to out-GPS them, and he does get suppressed. The second squad moving up is a little too wounded, I think, to be able to take on those riflemen with a pinned squad of Stern Pioneers right there, and he does need to make a full retreat. Actually, not a full retreat. He has Volksgrenadiers moving up to support, and they will at the very least be able to take up a position in this house, probably deterring a push for that munitions point, but at the same time not being able to be too aggressive himself. And we do have a lone squad of riflemen moving down through the south, doing some harassment. An MG-34 is placed pretty well to stop it, but I think it may not be able to have vision until they're already in the green cover, so we'll see how that works out. Volksgrenadiers get caught by a lieutenant, so he has gone with tier 2. Probably going to see some form of light vehicle in the near future. He's already got the fuel for a AA half-track, so I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that. He doesn't yet know what his opponent is doing as far as tech, so he probably doesn't know for sure if he wants to get that. Oh, he is going to get it. He hasn't seen a battle group headquarters. I don't think he... I mean, obviously he's seen no healing of any kind, so he has no reason to believe his opponent has a battle group headquarters. So he probably can reasonably expect to see a Puma here. But it looks like he's going to go with the AA half-track anyway.
Krauts are taking one of our points. Someone get us out of here!
And it can hold its own against the Puma in under like ideal circumstances, but the Puma has a huge advantage in that matchup, obviously. So we'll see if he's able to make good use of it. As far as VonAsten, we do have fuel transfer going on. He's actually got the fuel for a Puma already, but he's not going to be able to purchase it until he saves up 320 manpower, and he's spending a lot on reinforcement, especially with that double stern pile opening and 3 MG34s hitting the field, so that's gonna take a little while for him to stockpile. He's actually taking pretty heavy damage on that squad, and unfortunately, he's only just now getting Vet 1 on his Stern Pioneers, so he's finally got access to medical supply boxes. Prior to that, he's had no way of healing his troops. So hopefully he'll be able to make good use of that. It's really quite important to use medical supplies to keep your units healed to win engagements if you choose to go with Mechanized Regiment headquarters, because you don't have the medics from Battle Group headquarters. Half-track does hit the field and it's charging quite aggressively, but then it does a little weird maneuver there and immediately starts making a charge up to the north, trying to use it simply to clear the field of enemy troops and give him a much better map presence. And he actually may wipe the Stern Pioneer squad. Fortunately, they round cover that does give protection from its shots. We also have some suppression going out on those Volksgrenadiers, and they're taking too much damage to risk taking another shot. It would have required 2 more shots to take it out. There was absolutely no way that was going to happen. We do have 3 command points getting hit and Fallschirmjäger being chosen. If we take a look at Cruzz, still no doctrine choice. His options are infantry, airborne, and mechanized. So I doubt we'll be seeing mechanized, since he would have chosen that already if he was going to choose it. It's very unusual to see late game mechanized. It's a bit of a toss-up for infantry and airborne. Both of those are typically picked at 3 command points, since pathfinders are not all that appealing, and the airdrop machine gun obviously is not necessary for the lieutenant. But if he does choose to go with paratroopers, then that'll be a 3 command point option, and if he chooses to go with M1919s, that will also be a 3 command point option, since infantry company prior to that only offers the mortar, half-track, and field defenses, which, while moderately useful, are not the most appealing parts of the commander by any means. And the Puma is going to hit the field. Looks like he's going to go in deep. He does have vision on the half-track, and it looks like he's chosen a good route as well. The half-track taking a terrible route. I'm not sure where he's going with that. He could have taken the road back to base, but instead he tried to round this corner. I think he may have been trying to get in range of his rifleman for a rifle grenade to damage his engine, but he really had no chance of doing that. And we also see that his ambulance had a rally point set here at the center victory point, giving that Puma a lot of early veterancy, and that will really hurt Cruzz a lot. I don't know if he could afford for that to happen. We also see that he's a bit outnumbered here. He does retreat. More riflemen over here. And we do see airborne getting chosen here, and he's going to choose that to bring in paratroopers and possibly also an AT gun pretty much immediately. So he had quite a bit of manpower saved up, and he sort of realizes that once the Puma takes all of his stuff out. If he had not been floating so much, maybe he would have done a little bit better in that engagement. So he brings in some paratroopers and an AT gun at the same time. He does have to do some regrouping before he heads back out into the field. We do see M1919s getting purchased on the paratroopers, no surprise there. Especially on this map, Thompsons are not great. On other maps they can do well, but I think LMGs are definitely better on this one, and they're also just better in general. We also have riflemen moving down through the south, but that's not going to work with that machine gun right there. Looks like he's actually changed his mind. Just standing there, I guess. Paratroopers getting in the house. Riflemen moving up to provide some vision. The AT gun will get spotted by Sturm Pioneers here, so he definitely does see it. And he's already moving away outside its arc of fire. LMGs finish upgrading though, already doing great damage. And that will be the beginning of the long road to Vet 3 for them, turning into then pretty much into the best infantry in the game. Sturm Pioneers evacuate the house to take out those rear echelon troops, and they also are getting suppressed by the MG34. I'm not actually sure what he was attempting there. That may have actually been accidental. Lieutenant, however, doing pretty good damage to the MG34 with support from these riflemen, despite it having green cover. And he could risk losing that machine gun if he doesn't retreat it soon. Puma continuing to harass riflemen over here. We do have, rather than a full retreat, he's just going to move up to capture the... What is he doing? I'm a little bit confused by this move with the AT gun, but the push in general is going quite well, dealing heavy damage to just about everything in this area, almost wiping that squad of Sturm Pioneers, but unfortunately the bush prevents him from getting a nice full burst off with both of the light machine guns. He is healing up a little bit over here in the base. His ambulance that died earlier is, it's really hurting him that he hasn't got that, because the damage on those riflemen is quite high. He's going to struggle to win an engagement with a squad that low. He really does need that ambulance to prevent further bleed. But unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to spare the manpower. I guess he thinks that second squad of paratroopers is a more worthwhile investment, and he's about to encounter the Schwerer Panzer headquarters, which has been constructed in this behind this position. That's quite a common location to see this. It does protect the cutoff, it does protect against pushes through here, and it's protected by the shack from shots from an AT gun. And as you can see, this AT gun has to expose itself quite dangerously in order to be able to fire on the Schwerer Panzer headquarters safely. It has to circle around to this side of the church, which is a very exposed position for that to be. And if he loses that AT gun, that could be catastrophic. He really can't afford to give that to his opponent, and he is being forced to back off. The paratroopers that were screening for it in this house also get wiped on the retreat by those Sturm Pioneers. That is a devastating loss, and I don't think that AT gun is going to make it to safety. It looks like these rear echelon troops are actually drawing fire, but he keeps stopping. He really needs to keep that thing moving. More screening paratroopers move up. The AT gun does get cleared. Wow, that burst just melted those Sturm Pioneers, though. Grenade does go out, but it doesn't do much. And those Volksgrenadiers will be pushed away as well. It's very unfortunate that he lost that full squad of paratroopers, though. He really couldn't afford for that to happen. Looks like, on the other hand of things, though, he has stolen an MG34 over here with some riflemen. I think possibly with a grenade? No, he hasn't tech grenades. Maybe just a well-placed flank. I guess he just caught it. He just caught it and took it out. We do have 1919s actually managing to suppress some Oversoldaten, so that's definitely good. One is able to fire out of this side window here, and one's trying to fire out of the north window, but for some reason they've stopped firing. It looks like they're doing some sort of weird teleportation window switching thing, so they're like not firing. Oh man. He just hasn't, I'm not sure if VonAsten has lost many full squads. I think he may have lost a full Sturm Pioneer squad at some point, possibly some other squads, but by and large, he seems to be keeping them alive relatively well, whereas Cruzz has lost way too many. Possibly another one here. I think that is going to be a dead lieutenant. One more LMG burst. Oh, he does barely make it away. I think that was just lucky.
Infantry assault! Fire shoots! Ready for duty!
MG34 moving up, pushing the house. Once again, rear echelon troops are managing to draw fire. trying to tank as much damage as possible. Rotating out some riflemen though. Puma continuing to harass. Another machine gun set up over here. Volksgrenadier set up over here. And VonAsten has really excellent map control right now, as well as just hugely superior field presence, and I'm not sure that there's going to be much Cruzz can do to come back from this after all of the heavy losses that he sustained. We do see that he's got a Major though, and if we take a look at whatever he's purchasing, we will see an M8 Scott hitting the field. And I think that that was Major artillery just now. Yes, it was. That's an odd decision, but alright. I'm not actually even sure what that was aimed at just now. Doing what he can to clear out the building. The paratroopers will definitely be superior at that range, and the Stern Pioneers, despite having building cover, are taking heavy damage and will be forced to make a retreat. Major trying to do some light harassment, but unfortunately the MG34 is able to catch him in its arc before he's able to get clear, and now it's end. And we still don't see a second ambulance being produced by Cruzz, which is not allowing him to reinforce in the field and not allowing him to heal his troops. And I think that having waited this long, the effects of that have really added up over the course of the game in manpower losses.
All right, fellas, final checks.
But hopefully he will be able to accomplish something with this M8 Scott. He's actually getting quite aggressive with it, which is dangerous when there's a Puma on the field. I think he's actually trying to bait the Puma into his AT gun here, but his pathfinding looks a little sketchy. Oh, the Puma misses both of its shots against the Scott, though. Scott, unfortunately, does not choose direct fire and tries an indirect fire against the Puma, and of course, will miss. Continuing to auto-fire. Puma trying to get shots off. It does manage one shot at max range before immediately popping smoke to prevent retaliation by the AT gun there. We do have some harassment by these paratroopers. It's dangerous to be sending them out alone. I really hope he doesn't, like, get hit by a grenade while he's not paying attention. Scotts are very micro-intensive, so you have to dedicate a lot of your time to making sure that it is safe. And that can make harassment a very dangerous thing to do. Fortunately, it looks like they had the upper hand in that engagement, and those Obersoldaten were forced away. MG34 also getting focused down at range. It looks like he is going to be able to take it out before it will start, before it will manage to suppress anything. And if he's definitely going to wipe that. It looks like he will be able to recover that MG34, and he also has one over here, so Cruzz is actually executing rather well, and he really needs to, because to have any chance of succeeding... Oh, what happened there? It looks like the AT gun took it out? Yes, it did. Puma went down to the AT gun, got a little too aggressive trying to hit the Scott, I guess. Or some, I don't know what it was doing. I don't know why it was in the arc of fire, but it was, and it cost him that Puma. Meanwhile, up here, this engagement is definitely going in Cruzz's favor. The stolen MG34 immediately suppressing those Volksgrenadiers. Vet 2 rifles doing the rest of the work against those Stern piles, and the squad gets wiped. We also, however, have Fallschirmjäger being popped out of some building, possibly this shed, or maybe he walked them all the way up from base, and they die. And four-man elite infantry squads are pretty much the prime target of the M8A1 Scott, because the small squad size and the just how juicy the targets are, Obersoldaten, Fallschirmjäger, Jäger Light Infantry, and so on, are very costly to use against an M8 Scott in terms of manpower bleed, or just even losing full squads, which can happen, as you just saw. And it looks like Cruzz is in the midst of a comeback here. If we do take a look at VonAsten, we will see 240 fuel stockpiled low, and we will also see 3 base buildings constructed. So it's pretty obvious, I think, at this point that he's trying to save up for a King Tiger. And that would have been fine a moment ago, but now that he lost, like, everything in his army, I'm not sure if that is wise. Unfortunately, his Puma went down to the AT gun here, giving it Vet 2. Probably going to be seeing take aim on that. Not currently, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that at some point. And Cruzz has retaken a huge amount of map control, so I thought all was lost for him, for sure. But he's making a pretty incredible comeback here. We do have 2 stolen MG34s, as well as a sizable force of infantry, despite having lost one of his paratrooper squads. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that he hasn't started taking out this Schwer Panzer headquarters. I think it's a mistake to attack it from over here. You're extremely exposed when you do that. Grenade going out. What you should instead do is bring the AT gun down over here, not nearly as exposed, and you can easily shoot through these bushes using attack ground and destroy a Schwer Panzer headquarters that's placed right here. But unfortunately, Cruzz is not making any attempt at doing that. He is instead going to simply face it towards the main road here. Scott going to need to make a quick retreat, though. One more Panzerschreck shot will take it out. It looks like he will successfully get out of range. He also has a retreat point set up, and finally we do see an ambulance hitting the field once more. We do have a lieutenant set up in the house over here, so he'll be able to adequately protect and get vision on that munitions point and possibly also the victory point. Not really just the road area, but he is within range to chase off lone squads if they're just Volksgrenadiers. And it looks like VonAsten's push here in the south just failed pretty miserably. As far as unit preservation, he's doing horrible. His army is just about totally gone, whereas Cruzz has somehow managed to come back with a huge infantry force. I think possibly getting some extra rifleman squads here in the late game. This one's only got 2 kills, so I believe that one's rather fresh. And we also do, his rear echelons are still alive, and of course the 2 stolen machine guns, the AT gun, rounding out his force. And it looks like Cruzz actually has about 200 fuel saved up right now. And I'm somewhat surprised that he hasn't gone for anything heavier like a Sherman, but I guess he would rather just spend the manpower on reinforcing his infantry and his team weapons and keeping those things alive. And once again, he's exposing his AT gun by bringing it around this side. I really don't think that's a good idea. I really think he should just use attack ground through these bushes, but I guess it's a risk he thinks that he can take, and he does have screening paratroopers here now, and I think he may be able to take it down if VonAsten doesn't respond. He's actually making a push over here in the north, and I think he may actually just let it die. Yes, he is. There's absolutely no way he can save it. It's way too late. So that's going to go down, but VonAsten's King Tiger, which he's definitely telegraphing rather hard, is going to hit the field. He's no longer going to have access to the Lux Obersoldaten or the Sturm Tiger, unfortunately, so he's pretty much out of options as far as high-tech goes. I guess the highest tech thing he can get now is either the Stuka or the Jagdpanzer or something, but I would be moderately surprised to see any of those things. But we do have a King Tiger on the field, and Cruzz is really not in any position to counter a King Tiger at the moment. Despite having a Vet 3 AT gun, that's really his only anti-tank. Besides that, he doesn't even have a Sherman or anything. He does have the fuel to get a Jackson. I would not be surprised to see that hitting the field. He also does have the munitions for a P-47 rocket strafe. However, that King Tiger is, like, the very first thing it does upon hitting the field is sit in the arc of a Vet 3 AT gun using AP rounds. And then apparently is also shooting at these paratroopers. Like, I don't think you could possibly be microwing that worse. There's really no reason for it to have lost 2/3 of its health when there's only 1 AT gun on the field. But I guess he just isn't afraid. Oh, the rocket strafe does come in. Unfortunately, it comes in at an angle where it's attacking the front rather than attacking the side, where it has a much better chance of hitting, or diagonally really is where it performs best. But at the very least, it looks like Cruzz is trying to take advantage of the fact VonAsten has just about no infantry other units and try to harass and take territory, but it looks like we do have some Stern Pioneers harassing up here in the north, and a plane actually just about completely destroyed the church. That was the P-47, and unfortunately that does mean that it will not be making a second pass. The second pass is actually really quite unusual to see against an Oberkommando player, because if they have a Schwer Panzer headquarters, or even just their flak emplacements and the gunners on top of tanks and so forth, will usually take it down before it can make the second pass, which I kind of think is dumb, because it's not like VonAsten has really invested anything into having dedicated anti-air, other than the fact that he just happens to be playing over Commando West. And I think that it kind of nullifies a lot of the power of that ability, that it could just get shot down like that. I mean, you'd almost think that the second pass just wouldn't be part of the rocket strafe, but that's the way it is. Scott going to try to help against these fresh Fallschirmjäger. It looks like he's going to just retreat that MG-34. The MG-34 in American hands is actually rather durable, because for whatever reason it has a 6-man squad, and I think that may be a bug. I'm not entirely certain if that's intentional, because when the Soviets take it, I'm pretty sure it's only 4 men, but I'm not actually sure about that either. We do have an MG-34 also over here getting smoked by the lieutenant, followed up by a grenade, but good reposition, gets out of range of the grenade. But he will be forced to retreat anyway, because as the lieutenant sprints into close range, he will get taken out. And we also have paratroopers moving up on the flank, pushing away these Volksgrenadiers. And it's really unfortunate that he's had to take so much time off the battlefield with his King Tiger for repairs, just because he wasn't ready for one AT gun. And there is a Jackson here now as well, which is of course the logical decision for Cruzz, but he'll have to, of course, be extremely careful with it, and it'll actually be rather vulnerable once the King Tiger has access to Blitz, and it's quite close to being Bet 1. It's already about 75% of the way there, and the King Tiger looks like it may... I don't know what he's doing. He just encountered the Scot, sort of, but the Scot immediately popped smoke, and it looks like he's not going to try and fight that anyway. He's actually going headfirst into the Jackson, and one more shot I think will destroy it, and if the Jackson doesn't path perfectly out of range, it's going to be abandoned. Oh my god. That is extremely bad. It's overextended, alone in enemy territory. I'm not honestly sure what Cruzz was thinking, sending it in so deep without support. And now this ambulance is charging. Something. I guess he's just trying to move it into a slightly more forward position. It looks like he's going to try to recover the Jackson with that squad of riflemen, but he'll lose the full squad if he gets inside that tank. So that would definitely be a mistake. We do have some infantry moving up down here in the south. Paratroopers are doing quite nicely against them, though. Heavy damage going in on those Obersoldaten, but they do make it into green cover and are inflicting equally heavy damage on those paratroopers. And they will win that if he doesn't retreat immediately. Oh, geez, that had just hit Vet 3, I think, too. That hurts. That he wasn't paying attention to that, which, like I said, the Scot requires constant babysitting. It's very hard to micro your infantry simultaneously with all the rest of your stuff, especially when doing harassment. Harassment becomes very dangerous in the late game, and I think you can see that quite clearly here. King Tiger charging. It actually has, I think, possibly cover from that AT gun. In the smoke? Maybe not. I can't tell if he's using attack ground or just manually attacking. King Tiger's also manually attacking in return, and he also just left a rifleman squad right there to die to the top MG gunner. This machine gun looks like it's about to die to the MG gunner. Just sort of letting all of his units get killed. I think he must be microing his Scot or something. Calling it an AT gun right there. I don't know how he's planning to crew that, though. I guess he's not. And that's the game. King Tiger pretty much kills everything. Cruzz just wasn't quite ready. The things he did build to counter it were not used all too effectively. That Jackson going in unsupported, trying to flank behind it like that, I think was a strange move. I don't see how that could have possibly succeeded. He may have been expecting the King Tiger to still be wounded. He was just trying to finish it off, would be my guess. I think Cruzz had a really good chance of winning this, given VonAsten's decision to hold out for a King Tiger, but despite what looked like an amazing United States comeback, the King Tiger was able to push the US off the field and win the game. So well played by VonAsten, well played by Cruzz for sure. It was a good game to watch, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.